Mikel, good to see you.
Hello.
2 big wins following the international break, so you must feel in a good place heading into Sunday.
Yeah, 2 very important wins. Very good feeling about the games as well, and preparing for a big match.
Your coach picked up head injuries on Tuesday. Are they absolutely fine?
Yeah, they are fine. They will be available.
William Saliba, an unused substitute on Tuesday. Can we expect him to come straight back into the starting 11 on Sunday?
Let's see. Obviously, he's been carrying an injury. He's done really well to be available for the last match, and he's really pushing it. Hi.
Good afternoon. You know Pep Guadiola probably better than all of us in this room. How demanding do you think it's been for Pep to be at this level for so many years, to be achieving what he achieved in so many countries, and also how much do you think he evolved his coaching and management in the last few years?
Well, yeah, the demands that he puts first of all on himself, the standards that he requires for everybody around him, his will to win, to evolve, to improve. You look around him always, he wants to surrender about the best people. For me, he's by far the best coach in the world. I always said it. I had the pleasure to work with him and win a lot with him next to him. So, yeah, it's always great to see him back.
Noni Madueke.
Saka and Odegaard, you said decision after tomorrow's session. Have they trained already, or would that be their first session?
Because everything has been modified so far for him, and still
have a lot of injuries there, but yeah, rest, and energy for on Sunday.
Have you spoken to the Premier League or UEFA or anyone about the schedule?
Don't go for that side. Not necessary.
Rob?
I know you've just spoken about Rodri briefly then, but is he capable, do you think, of starting 3 games of that intensity in 1 week with United, Napoli tonight, and then possibly Arsenal on Sunday?
It's a good question. I don't know yet. But he was so smart. I know the result was not over. 1-0 is always tricky, but he doesn't feel good. Always we try to talk, please. We have to sustain and feel that not comfortable, and it's better. We see day by day. But important play already 2 games. Yesterday, for example, the training schedule, he didn't feel much comfortable. He didn't train good, but said, no, I will be fine tomorrow, and play extraordinary like Rodri is. And with him in the pitch, we feel more comfortable. But of course, come from a tough injury, you have to be alert, and we will decide on Sunday how does he feel.
Hi, Pep. Have you rewatched the defeat at Arsenal last season this week at all? Is there anything you kind of look back and take from that game, or is it one of those off days you had last season that you just try and?
But the game last season, we start and it happened many times last season. And the 14 team, we give away 1,000 million goals. And after we were, during a lot of the time, pretty good considering how we was last season. And the last 50-20 minutes was a disaster. We forgot to do what we had to do, and everyone do it there. And after that, Arsenal was easy for them. But hopefully this season we can make a little bit more challenge in the last years, because Mikel is an extraordinary manager, and what they increase the squad for these 4 or 5 transfer windows. So it's an unbelievable squad, an unbelievable team. It's one of the toughest opponents you can find right now in Europe. And we see what we have to do, and the players how are fit, and we try to compete where I want compete, to be better team than that was the last season, especially in the last 20-25 minutes.
And do you think those kind of disasters?
Start with you, because you're all about the narratives, and this one is always going to be the master versus the student, isn't it?
It is, and to be fair, the student has done really well to beef up his team and his squad and his defensive base in order to take on the firepower that the master has. We all know what Erling Haaland can do. 12 goals across 6 of the 7 games he's played in so far. But Arsenal come into this in really, really good form. They've only conceded in 1 of their 5, is it 5, 4? 4 Premier League games so far, and that was an exceptional strike from Dominic Szoboszlai in the game against Liverpool. But the defensive strength they have at their disposal is outstanding. They had the best defence in the Premier League for the last 2 seasons. In front of that defence, they've got Zubimendi, the European Championship winner, absolutely outstanding, in a very underrated position. And they now have that striker, Gyökeres. They can win games 1-0. Doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be spectacular. But now they've got the balance in that side that says to all of their fans as well as the players, we can go to war with a club like City.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about that Arsenal midfield, actually, because I think at Anfield, he was criticised, Arteta, for being a little bit too conservative in the way in which they approach the game. How do you think they approach this one, and what do you think is that best three in the middle?
Well, everybody approaches Anfield conservatively. We did as well, and we had a better team than us had, with the utmost respect. You go to Anfield with respect because you can get hurt there. And the same thing when you're going to play, Pep Guardiola and Manchester City. They, in terms of personnel and players, Arsenal have a great squad, but City have a better one. So I think Mikel's clever. You approach that game with respect and a little bit of, you can bring players on to change the game. So I think for the first time, Mikel has a team to compete to win the Premier League. I don't think he had one before. I think the squad is, for the first time, with a puncher's chance to say, right, come on, City, come on, Liverpool. Let's see what you got. And I think with Gyökeres and all these players that are coming out, I just think Zubameni, I think now they can go toe-to-toe. And that's why this season is so important for Arsenal.
Oh, and do you think they'll play three in that with Arsenal, Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard? Or do you think they'll play Odegaard and Rice together and maybe push... Rice and Zubamendi together and push Odegaard further forward?
Zubamendi will play. Just like you said, he's a European champion. He knows how to play in a big game like that, and you want to find a way to keep the ball against City. So I'd be shocked if Zubamendi didn't play. But I think now that midfield, you look at Arsenal's midfield, it's great. Zubamendi, Rice, Odegaard. But actually City now with Rodri, Reinders and Phil Foden back to being Phil Foden, that's box office. So be curious to see who comes out on top there.
Yeah, very interesting battle happening in the midfield, especially considering he dropped Rice, I think, for the Forest game. Let's talk about that Arsenal forward line, because you said for the first time now they have a squad that can really compete. That's very impressive. And they were plugging gaps. They were playing Merino up top last season. Now it's very different. And I think one player who got a lot of flack when he joined Arsenal, Arteta did, was Madueke.
Yeah.
And I think he's been impressive so far.
Yeah, he's a very good player. And the cool thing about Madueke is he can play both sides. He can play left or right. And I think now even you think about Eze, you see there the goal from Zubamendi. I always say to even my son's team, sit at the edge of the box on corners, the ball will come to you. And it always says that is a great strike. This ball from California is crazy. And this ball from Eze is nuts. Honestly, that goal is amazing. People always try to play between the lines. But sometimes if they come press, play beyond them. Gyökeres has started in brilliant form, obviously with 3 goals. And you think about Madueke, your point, Eze, Gyökeres, and then you got Saka, obviously, and Martinelli and Ødegaard. You got all these options in case somebody gets injured. That's why I think Arsenal can, for the first time, say, come on, bring it on.
It will be a fascinating game because of what's at stake. If City were to lose this game, and assuming Liverpool win the Merseyside derby, they would be 9 points behind Liverpool at the top. They'd be 6 points behind Arsenal in second. And I wonder, and you know about playing in all these big games, whether that will affect the way that City go into it. They can't go on the attack and leave gaps for a defence that's kind of finding its way still, even though they've got the experience between the sticks.
Yeah, I still think the 2 fullbacks, for City, they're finding something there. I think, obviously, with Donnarumma's a huge plus to them. He could turn out to be the biggest transfer of anybody, I think. And I think he gives them stability in terms of those big moments he can make saves. But I was at the game at the Etihad against Man United. And even United had some, even though the scoreline suggested it was one-sided, United had some moments on the counter-attack where they could have got something. So I think Pep will approach the game quite respectfully as well, because you never know, anything can happen in a game like that.
Yeah, he's actually gone 4 unbeaten without a win against Arteta, and it's never 5 in a row. So there's a little bit of a history to be made as well. Let's talk more about Phil Foden, though, and the way he played in the derby and what you expect from him.
Yeah, I thought him and Doku were the 2 best players in the game. Obviously, Haaland got the headlines because of the goals. But Phil is just such a beautiful football player. So smart, can take the ball. I mean, look at that, his feet. Doku, I think, has just played incredible in the games that I've seen. That finish from Erling Haaland. And they need Phil and they need his energy, and I think they need Doku's energy. That little shift from Doku was fantastic. Great little header from Phil. Phil Foden, if you think about all the money that's been spent on all these players in the world, he cost them nothing. And he could end up being their best player. So I'm delighted to see Phil back to his best. He's a special kid. He's a special football player. And he could decide that form he's in.
I agree with that, because I think if you look at Foden and you look at Doku, as strong as their Arsenal defence is, the way that they play and their ability and creativity between the lines, they can pull players out of position to create opportunities for Haaland. And Haaland appears to be, and I think we started off by talking about the Champions League, the goal that Foden created for Haaland, on the run, nodding in, understanding the ball, reading that ball so well, it was a thing of beauty, as you say, and I think it was symptomatic of what City can do against an Arsenal defence that is so good.